Hi there guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero show with me, your host Simon Conboy. Today's episode marks the beginning of the 2017 season, so you may notice some changes if you've watched the show before. A new intro, got some new graphical packages all put together, beginning the 2017 season preview series today. Going through the teams in the order of my power rankings, so today's episode will be focusing on the New York Jets, going in reverse order. The Jets came in dead last in my paper power rankings, which won't come as a huge surprise to anyone following the league or the Jets at this point in time. So for these episodes, this being the first one, I'll be going through my projected starters at each position for the team, then going through the team schedule to give you their projected record. Not going to discuss every game, but some of the key areas of the schedule for each team. Then go through what I consider the three X factors. If a team is going to overachieve or underachieve, depending on the situation they're in the case of the Jets, for them to overachieve, I think these are the three areas on the field that will make the most difference. Possibly the hardest to predict in terms of performance, whether it be because of rookies starting or because of a whole swath of new starters. So that's how we're going to do it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. So we're going to hop straight on in with the offensive starters for the Jets for the 2017 season. Now, of course, this is very much projected at this point. If I think the team was going to play a game tomorrow, this is the lineup I think they'd go with. Quarterback, Josh McCown. A veteran player, been around the league a long time, steady if unspectacular. I can't see Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg starting day one. They may see the field at some point, particularly if the team crashes and burns over the course of the season. But for day one, I think he's absolutely going to be the guy. The running back position, Matt Forte and Bilal Powell. I think this group has some potential. Forte has been a great player for a long time. Of course, he's on the back end of his career, but I think he's still a capable, solid three-down back. I think Bilal Powell offers a dangerous weapon in the receiving game. I think between the two of them, they could be reasonably productive. The wide receiver spot, this is a giant question mark. I've got no doubt Quincy Enunwa is going to be the number one. Beyond that, I think it's a real crapshoot as to who even starts. I had to do a bit of research. I'm not particularly familiar with a lot of these guys, and I'm sure a lot of fans aren't. From what I can gather, Sharon Peake and Robbie Anderson look like the two likely starters alongside Enunwa. I think this is a wide open battle. If you're one of them undrafted type guys, I think the Jets are a good situation to go to at the minute, because you're going to get to compete, I think, for a starting role. The tight end spot, I think that's between Austin Seferian-Jenkins and Jordan Leggett. Seferian-Jenkins has a lot of talent, so for that reason I give him the edge. However, his career can be pretty much defines the term knucklehead at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Leggett starting there. Moving on to the offensive line. We've got the offensive tackle spot. I've got Benny Jalana and Kelvin Beachum as the two starters. I think Beachum would likely be the left tackle. I think he's a competent player if he can get himself healthy. Missed a lot of time with the Jaguars. But if he can be healthy, I think he'll give them a decent option at that position. Jalana, unless you're one of the sadistic Jets fans that wants the team to go 0-16 or 1-15, I think you want to see him at right tackle, or ideally someone else win the job and see him at guard. But I think he's going to get the start on the right-hand side. The guard position, we're looking at James Carpenter and Brian Winters. Winters is a fairly solid player. He was extended by the team. I think he's a given. James Carpenter's got some starting experience. I don't think he's particularly good. I think it was a disappointment for the Seahawks. Their line's been underwhelming for a few years now. But at this point, I think it's an open job. I think someone else could win it. But at this point, I think he's the likely starter. At centre, I was a bit confused by not seeing Nick Mangold there. It just feels odd. It's been a long time. Had to do a bit of research here. Apparently, Wesley Johnson looks like the most likely starter. Going to be honest, not particularly familiar with him. The kicker looks like it's going to be Chandler Catanzaro, who, flamed out with the Cardinals last year. He was a bit of a disaster. But we'll see if he can steady himself. Kickers are a strange breed. They can have one or two terrible seasons and then come back and be great. So who knows? Well, in terms of the offense, I think this is one of the weakest groups in the league. You look at the skill positions in the quarterback spot, it seems safe to say they're not going to be torching teams through the air this season. I think it's definitely about development, particularly with regards to the receiving group. The offensive line doesn't look like it's going to be particularly strong. It's going to be a struggle. I just struggle to see this team scoring, upwards of 15 points a game every week. They're going to rely on this next group, I think, if they're going to have any success this season. So we'll head to the defensive side of the ball, and we'll start with the defensive end position. I think we're looking at Leonard Williams and Mohamed Wilkerson being the two starters. This is a really good pair. Leonard Williams, was a star last season. It's a shame the Jets were so bad. He had a great season. Mohamed Wilkerson, bit of a down year, but we know he's a great player, supremely talented. Those two could really carry a lot of the load for this team on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to have to, I think. At nose tackle, I think it's likely to be Steve McClendon, formerly of the Steelers. Not particularly exceptional nose tackle, but he'll do a job for them. Feels like a big downgrade from the Damon Harrison days, but he's an experienced player. I think this line does look like it could be solid. Sheldon Richardson is, for me, the wild card. I don't know if this team might maybe play a bit more four-man front, which isn't really something that Todd Bowles likes to do. But at the minute, I've got Sheldon Richardson and Jordan Jenkins listed as the starting outside linebackers. It looks like a real positional weakness. Richardson did not look particularly effective there last year, which is why I speculate maybe they should consider doing a bit more with a four-man front and using Wilkerson and Richardson as ends. But we'll see what they do. But for the minute, it looks like the Richardson outside backer experiment may continue. I don't think they're going to be able to shop him, particularly at this point in the year. It looks like his trade value is basically depleted to nothing. The inside back spot, I think that's pretty much a given that we're going to see Deron Lee and Demario Davis there. That's not a bad pair. They'll, of course, be hoping that Deron Lee can develop and become a young star in this league. I certainly liked him coming out of college. He'll be in, and Dave Davis they traded for. He's got experience with the team. I think he'll be a veteran presence replacing David Harris there. The cornerback spot has been a real revamp, of course. We've got Mo Claiborne, who was very productive last year with the Cowboys. If he can stay healthy and maintain that level of play, I think he'll give them a legitimate number one corner. Beyond that, I think Buster Skrine and Marcus Williams look like the other two starters in the nickel and at number two respectively. Where each one ends up, I'm not sure. Neither one inspires a huge amount of confidence. Marcus Williams was torched regularly with the Cardinals. Buster Skrine, I think, is just a guy. I think both of those spots are certainly wide open behind Claiborne, but at the minute, those are the guys with the most experience. And at safety, I think we're going to see both the rookies. They're going to be thrown into the fire. Jamal Adams, of course, was the number 6 pick. For me, he was one of the best players in the draft. I can't wait to see him on the on an NFL field. And I really liked Marcus May as well. Of course, expect to see some growing pains, but there's some real upside there. These two could develop into a great tandem, and certainly that's what the Jets will be hoping for. So, as I say, this team's certainly got some talent on the defensive side of the ball, but the problem is, there's a lot of holes and there's a lot of inexperience. When you look beyond that front three, it's a really sort of scattershot group. They could come together, they could probably surprise some people. Todd Bowles' defense have been very hit and miss over the years, but when he gets it right and the team seems to click, they do look very good. Expect to see him being very multiple, trying all kinds of exotic stuff, I think, to disguise some of the the weaknesses they've got in personnel. But I think if the safeties can pick it up early on, the secondary can hold together, I think this team could be quite good, because the front seven certainly has a significant amount of talent. And in terms of my projected record for the Jets, of course, last year they went 5-11. This year the roster looks a lot worse. Of course, they entered the dreaded rebuild for a lot of fans. I think it was, it's needed. For now, I've got the Jets projected to win 2 games. I think they might be able to sneak one early, whether that's against the the Jags, possibly the Dolphins, the Bills in week 1, possibly the Browns, maybe the return legs against the division opponents. I think those are the most likely spots this team can get wins. They're best, in terms of every week they're going to be going up against a team with more talent than them. That's just how 2017 is going to be. I don't think too many Jets fans would argue with me on that. I think their best bet is to catch a team cold, teams adapting early in the season. I think their last stretch of games next year is incredibly difficult. If this is a team that's going in, 0-7 or 0-8, they've got the Patriots, the Chargers, the Saints, the Broncos, Chiefs, Panthers and Buccaneers as their last chunk of games. I think it's pretty difficult to see them winning a game in that stretch. So, as I say, divisional games against Bills and Dolphins, might be able to steal one there. The Browns or the Jags, they look like the teams that are potentially rife for an upset. But who knows? As I say, 2 wins, that's my projection. I think the Jets will have the number 1 overall pick next year. In terms of this team being successful, I've got 3 key areas that I think, and by successful, for me, this team being 6-10 or heaven forbid 7-9 would constitute a very, very good year. The safeties, they're going to need to develop quickly. I think it's a whole new secondary, and safeties are essential to keeping that together. If Adams can immediately show why he was thought of so highly, and Marcus May can adapt to the speed and general talent level of the NFL game, I think this defence might have a chance. The front 7, as I say, has a lot of talent. Williams, Wilson, Deron Lee, Richardson, if he can get his head on straight, they are potential game changers. If the safeties can also contribute to that and keep things sturdy at the back end, maybe this defence will be a lot better than people think. They'll be able to sneak up on some teams. The wide receiver group, there's so many unknowns there that you never know. Maybe someone comes out of nowhere and is very productive for them. I think Enunwa looks like a solid player, but someone else will need to step up. I don't think he is going to be able to carry an offense on his own. That includes tight end, whether it's Austin Seferian-Jenkins finally putting it together or Jordan Leggett, having a great season. Who knows? But somebody is going to need to step up outside of Enunwa in that receiving group, and Enunwa's going to have to play out of his mind as well, I think. But they're going to need to get some productivity there to have any chance. And the offensive line, primarily the run blocking. If this team is going to be able to win games, I think it's going to be on the back of the old Rex Ryan style ground and pound, playing good defense and just keeping the clock running with a solid run game. Matt Forte is the one piece of the offense you're going to get and go, right, he knows how to play in this league and can be very successful. If the line allows it, who knows, maybe this team will surprise some people. And I think if all 3 of those things come together, the Jets could have a far better season than many think. A lot of Jets fans would be very disappointed because I do know a lot of Jets Nation seems to have resigned itself to, having that 1-15 to 3-13 season and getting one of the top quarterbacks in the draft at last. So maybe they're hoping none of these things happen. But if they do, who knows? This team might sneak up on some people and may not even finish bottom of the division. So, in conclusion, for me, the Jets, year 1 of the rebuild, the worst roster in the league. For me, the offense just looks really poor. I'm expecting it to be a long season. If you're a Jets fan, I think it's about seeing the development of particularly these young defenders. Leonard Williams continuing to become a superstar. See if Deron Lee can take that next step. Jamal Adams, Marcus May. Those are the positives. Those are the things you should focus on. I'll certainly be paying attention to them because I think if they can all develop, then the core is there for this group to be very good in the future. Offensively, it feels like throwing mud at the wall and just seeing what sticks at this point in time. And who knows? Hopefully for Jets fans, there'll be multiple pieces that stick to said wall. So there you have it. That's the Jets for you. What do you guys think? Let me know, whether it's comment section below, Find me on Twitter at Simon Conboy, as you can see in our new shiny lower third. Find us on Facebook, Cover Zero. Going to be a lot more active on Twitter and Facebook now, especially as the season starts to approach. Do you guys agree, disagree with any of these assessments, or any players you've got your eyes on? Do you think the Jets may surprise people? If so, why? Always fun to discuss these things, so let's chat about them. And if you've enjoyed this, check out more of the episodes. As I say, it's the first of a 32 team series, so check those out as they come up. The power rankings, I think, that I did over the last few weeks, they're well worth a watch. And as always, every Friday a weekly review, a news breakdown along with the top 10, so check those out. As always, if you could like, share, subscribe, and check out the Patreon, that would be greatly appreciated. There's going to be a lot of changes to the Patreon. It needs a lot of updating now that we've got a rough idea how the channel is going to look and work. So again, as always, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy this series. I hope you check more of them out. I think they're going to be pretty good. Pretty happy with how this one's gone. So again, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure as always. Have a great evening, and go Bucks.